Hey guys, it is John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur here. Welcome to IF Well, Inspirations for Your Life. It's so great to have you here. If you are new to the show and the channel, well, you'll notice there's a QR code that just popped up on the right-hand side of your screen. Use your phone and scan that QR code, and you'll be directed over to my link tree with lots of great information. You can use the QR code on my hat, or just go to believemeachieve.com for some great information. We have episode 6 tonight. Tomorrow's episode 7. We have a great topic. Thanks for stopping by, everyone that's new. And we have some great content to improve the quality of your lives and everyone else in it that you care about so much. And we have a 7-day series, as you guys know. We have a master topic for the whole week. And if you are coming back, welcome back, my friends, colleagues, and associates. It's wonderful to have you here. And hopefully some of the new people will become loyal just like you have been all these years. Really do appreciate you. Thank you so very, very, very much. All right. So what is our topic? Well, that is, what is the tip of the iceberg? The tip of the iceberg. Well, before I get to that, because it's really important, today is National Fudge Day. And I was actually today at Myers House of Sweets in Wyckoff, New Jersey. You can see my thing. I'm just going to take a little tiny piece of fudge here, and I'm actually going to cut it right down the center. I'm going to try it right now on camera. And it is, I tell you, delicious. Absolutely, absolutely delicious. If you're in New Jersey, definitely go over to Myers House Sweets in Wyckoff, New Jersey. You will not be sorry. There's lots of other tasty things there. So today is National Fudge Day. Put a smile on someone's face. Get them some fudge. And I had the salted caramel one. It's amazing, all the different kinds of fudge they have. And I have been nursing this piece of fudge all day with just little slivers. They even give you a little knife in the bag. How cool is that? All right. So lots of great things happening. And when we're talking about the iceberg, right? The tip of the iceberg. Do you know what the tip of the iceberg is? The tip is when we start at the very, very top, right? It's when we start at the top. And so a lot of times it's not known what's under the iceberg. People just don't know for whatever reason. They just don't know what is under the iceberg. And I think a lot of times people become distracted because they see something at the top and they say, oh, wow, that's great. But they don't realize what's actually underneath the iceberg, right? If you look at this cup right here, forget what brand it is, doesn't matter. If you just look at the cup, what's in my cup? Well, you really don't know, do you? Because you only look at the outside of the cup. Well, the outside in this case is the tip. It's water. But looking at one thing does not give you actually what something is. If you look at a floppy disk, and many of you remember floppy disks, right? All right. Looking at the floppy disk, does this tell you what's on it? No. It just gives you the tip of what you think's on it. So what are some other icebergs, like tips of the iceberg? What do you think? So what are some other tips of the iceberg? You had to think for me. Just think for me for a second. So an iceberg is what we first see, right? It's only a small, often unrepresentative portion of something much larger and more complex that cannot yet be seen or understood, according to the Idioms Free Dictionary. Thank you so much. So when we think about a tip, okay, it's the starting point. It's the beginning. It's part of something. It's a small piece. It's not the full iceberg. Just one part of it. So in your life right now, what is a tip of your life? Let's say we're talking about cooking a hamburger, right? That hamburger, if we were to look at that hamburger right now and measure the temperature of the hamburger on the outside with one of those little laser devices, we'd be measuring the tip, the outside temperature. We wouldn't be measuring the inside temperature. Now, we know if the outside temperature is 240, 250 degrees, it's probably 165 degrees easily, right? But we're measuring the tip. Another thing the tip would be maybe the tip of a brush, right? When you paint, you use the tip of the brush, right? Just to get certain marks, and then you can use the rest of the brush for other strokes. When you dip it into the little paint wells, you just dip the tip, because a lot of times you just want to use just little pieces, right? You just want to do certain parts. Certain times you do lines and you'll drip it all the way down. But you want to have less paint on the brush so you can control it more. So understanding the tip of life is like knowing that there's a beginning, but not fully comprehending where to go next. Here's your phone. All right. If I just look at the phone with the screen, that doesn't tell me much, right? It's the tip of something. It's the beginning of something. It's a starting point. It's an entry level, right? Maybe you're outside and you see a cave, and that cave has just a little bit of light. That's only the tip of it. It's not the whole cave, just the beginning of the cave. Many times people see the tip and they turn away. The reason they turn away is because they can't fathom what's next, or they don't know what to do next. They have no idea. And we have some of these people here again. Thanks, Mark, for putting them in blockout user. They come here with their X-rated content, and the tip of what they have to say is all bad. They come here from basically from all these different places, and then they try to get you to go to Tinder and all these crazy places. But the thing is, if these people would use just 1 ounce of their brain, 1 ounce of their brain for something that was positive, think about how much they can impact the world. Who really cares about their X-rated content? I know I don't. And I feel it just shows that these people are ignorant and very, very low class. Now, I never like to discriminate, or I never like to put anybody down, but people that are using coercion and tactics about X-rated content to be put into a wholesome quality motivation, they just make me want to regurgitate on them. Really terrible. Now, when we think about a tip is oftentimes needed to get started. Like if you have piece of wood and you want to screw the screw into the wood, sometimes it's hard. My grandfather always would show me you use an awl to make that point. So you're making the tip. So now you can put the screw in and you can actually screw it in better, right? Some screws, it's hard to get them started. So you make a little hole so you're able to get it in so it's able to bite the wood. That's the tip. That's the tip. When you roll up string, you have to sometimes get it a certain way so they'll be able to pull the rest of it. When you use a pump, in order to use a pump, you have to prime the pump. What is the prime? The prime is the tip that actually leads to the rest of the water. What if you're in an audience and suddenly the orchestra finishes? The first thing they do is they're just about to put their hands together. That's the tip. And the rest of it is when they clap. But the tip is just a beginning to put that together. And you might say to me, John, I don't know what the heck a tip is. A tip is a beginning. A tip is a start point. A tip is an entranceway. A tip is part of the whole. A tip is an insight. A tip is a very small micro part of something that leads to something much bigger, right? Think of the tip of a needle. I know people think of that a lot of times, right? And if you're fearful of needles, I'm sorry about that, but get over it. The tip of the needle is the tip, but what's really important is the other end where the medicine comes in from, right? Now that's kind of cool. The tip actually is the part that brings out the medicine, right? Let's think about a faucet, right? Faucet in your kitchen or your bathroom or laundry room, or maybe a hose. Well, that hose, the end of the hose is the tip. And we turn the water on, the tip starts to pull the water from the rest of the hose. That's pretty cool. It really is. Now, when we think about the tip, I think the most important thing for people to understand is that a tip can be it can be a little bit confusing for some people because they don't necessarily know what is a tip. They know it's part of something. Let's think about a tip on a sailboat. A tip on a sailboat would be, let's say, the top of the rudder. That's a tip. It's part of the rudder. But that tip is very critical to driving the rudder and putting it in the right position so that the wind can push the boat. Because if the rudder's in the wrong position, it'll cause the boat to possibly go on irons, which is to sail into the sun, into the wind, and to cause the boat to not operate in an efficient manner. Tip. How about the tip of a flag? The tip of a picture? The tip of a wire? The tip of a crime? The tip. Now, that might not be all the details about the crime, but it's the tip. It's the beginning point. It's the part where we have to start to look at. Now, anything in life, people always look at the tip first because that's all we see. But the tip radiates everything out. However, the tip sometimes is wrong because we don't clearly get what actually is behind the tip. We get a perception of what the tip is. But that perception, that hypothesis, could be completely wrong. Yeah. Think about a keyboard for a minute. Your keyboard has all kinds of keys, right? All right. Each key is a tip. This is not what makes the letter. There's something sub below the key. And when you press the outer key down to press that little plunger, it causes a component on the board to recognize that signal and send that binary character sequence for the ASCII value of that letter. For example, a capital A is a 65. So it sends a 65 in binary. Now you might be saying, "Hey, John, what the heck is a 65 in binary?" Okay. A little bit challenging to understand, but I think we can help you understand it. So a binary 64 is really simple. There is a 1 followed by 6 zeros. The first bit is on. That's a 64-bit position. That's going to give us 64. Right? And understanding representations is all what tips are about. Tip is also something you get to ensure prompt service, but we're not talking about that kind of tip, right? That's usually money or something so that the person will give you a good service, or you tip after your meal, right? Because you were happy with the way things went. A tip is your first impression. A tip is an initial understanding. A tip is what we first see. A tip is the first thing we hear. A tip is the first thing we comprehend. But remember, there's a lot more under every tip that needs to be discovered, because we can't take a tip at face value, because the tip might be wrong. The tip might be wrong. That's pretty cool. A tip might be wrong. Pretty cool, right? A tip might be wrong. So how do you know if the tip you're looking at is good or bad? Well, you have to go dive below deeper. You have to ask questions. You have to figure out what's uncovering, what's part of that tip, what's it sitting on top of. And if you can't do that, then it comes down to, what question do I need to ask? What question do I need to ask? Pretty cool. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am by now. I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It has been an amazing privilege and pleasure to be with you tonight as we talk about the tip. What is the tip of the iceberg? Be sure to, yes, comment below. What is the tip that you start with in your life? And what tips have you discovered that might have been wrong from perception? Go ahead and, yes, tag your friends, colleagues, and associates. Share this out with everyone you know on social media. And then be sure to go to my YouTube channel, John Space, E Space, M-O-R-L-E-Y Space, Serial Entrepreneur, and look for the key phrase, help keep our content free. And make the choice, ladies and gentlemen, to buy my team and I a cup of coffee. We'll be so grateful that those pennies and dollars will invest into new hardware, new technology, new equipment, new software, and even new facilities to give you the most jaw-dropping, motivational content available to get you out of procrastination and into action. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your night. And you know what? I'm actually going to see you tomorrow, Friday, to have our final episode for the master topic of understanding the tip of the iceberg. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have yourself a great night. Take care, everyone.